beautiful, imaginative, and emotional. The story-driven Final Fantasy role-playing games have resonated like few others. With narratives this complex and rich, sometimes you need a whole nother game to finish a single tale. A direct sequel to 2010's Final Fantasy XIII, Final Fantasy XIII-2 welcomes back characters with some unfinished business.
Do you know where my sister is?
Come with me.
We spoke with the game's producer and director about where and when this latest adventure will take us.
The story of Final Fantasy XIII-2 picks up where 13 ends. We saw that Cocoon is in a state of disrepair, so the beginning of XIII-2's story will take place on Grand Pulse, where we see returning characters working towards rebuilding Grand Pulse.
I know my sister is alive out there.
Lightning is missing. She's in a separate world, and the main protagonists, Noel and Sarah, set out to find her. So there's a mysterious tone to the game's setting, as the characters attempt to uncover secrets.
What's happening?
Like with the previous game, the mood will be serious.
Players who put a ton of time into Final Fantasy XIII are already familiar with some of those names. Lightning is a strong-willed ex-soldier and sister to Sarah. As the main protagonist of Final Fantasy XIII, she led a mission to save her sister from the Fal'Cie Pulse. The roles are reversed in Final Fantasy XIII-2. Sarah keeps a quiet life in New Bodham, and upon learning of Lightning's mysterious disappearance, sets out on a trek with a new time-traveling companion, Noel. Yes, we said time-traveling.
You see? It's a time gate.
The biggest difference from Final Fantasy XIII is that in this game, the theme revolves around a time paradox. The main characters are able to progress the story by traveling through time.
Lightning is in a place called Valhalla. She's waiting on the other side.
So you just dial your PS3 to 1.21 gigawatts of electricity, right?
This time travel is done through a new menu called Historia Crux, and players can freely choose a time period and area to continue the storyline as they wish.
Battle, on the other hand, doesn't require any kind of temporal anomalies.
Through the release of 13, many people around the world were able to play the game and then voice their feedback through internet and even through postcards. The previous installment was very popular, especially the battle system, which we've improved on in 13-2.
Final Fantasy XIII's battle was a command-based system with increased action and speed elements. In 13-2, we polished the battle elements by giving players the ability to use over 150 types of monsters as their allies. By combining the paradigm system with these monster allies, players can enjoy tactical and strategic battles.
You'll raise and customize these monster friends, naming them and advancing their stats and equipment as you go. Many players ask, why not just make a new Final Fantasy game? People, don't you know how long it takes to come up with these ideas?
We've created sequels in the past. With Final Fantasy X, we created X-2, a sequel based on the world and characters of Final Fantasy X. With Final Fantasy XIII, we were able to create vast worlds and characters and did not want the game to end with just one title. We ultimately decided to develop 13-2 in a similar fashion because we wanted to continue the storyline of 13.
The future won't change until you make the first step.
We spent a long time developing the previous installment, around 4 to 5 years. We wanted to deliver the sequel while the story and the characters are fresh in the gamer's mind. In this way, I put a lot of pressure on our staff to meet deadlines.
Yes, I'm ready to go.
Vast doesn't even begin to describe the Final Fantasy world. You can visit so many locations, each with a unique style. There's so much to explore. With such a range of content, settings, characters, lore, how have gamers been able to keep up with the series for so long?
I definitely think that Final Fantasy has struck a chord with gamers because of its characters and the feel of the environment. Though the overall theme of the franchise is fantasy, the Final Fantasy titles are different in that they have a certain sci-fi element and have beautiful and vibrant worlds. In that way, I think many gamers enjoy the unique worlds that Final Fantasy games offer.
Like what Kitase said, we do not obsess with the concept of fantasy. Instead, we think of ways to express new characters and worlds, which I think gamers appreciate and look forward to.
I don't know what's waiting out there in the future between worlds, but I want to see Lightning so much.
And most importantly, we love the games because there will be chocobos, right?
Yes, there will be chocobos. In fact, there'll be many, and they'll be able to run through different fields as well.
With an improved combat system, time travel, adding new and exciting ways to interact with the world. And a whole new slew of beasts and creatures to control, Final Fantasy XIII-2 adds some exciting elements to a story we only thought we knew all about. Get ready, the adventure continues.
you